Hello and welcome back to another conversation to create the future. And today, episode 19 of season 2. For those who are going through the whole sequence in the podcast, today it's about the innovator and the futurist. And I have a conversation with my good friend Benj, and my name is Arjan Visser. So please join the conversation live through the comments, the chat, or afterwards with just leaving your comments or direct messages because we love to have a conversation that goes beyond just the two of us. So, Benj, welcome for contributing to another episode and
Thank
setting the
you.
time apart from, well, actually, it's dinner time on our side of the world. So, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. I've got a question. When does season 3 start? You know, end of summer, I thought it'd be a new season, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
more
yeah.
American style seasons with hundreds of episodes.
So actually, you suggest that today is episode 1 of season 3. I,
Don't
I,
know.
there is a function to edit the comments and all the other things. So yeah, well, we can do that. Yes,
Maybe we need to finish season 2 and have a big cliffhanger at the end, and then your next one can be season 3
yeah,
to see
good.
if anybody joins.
So my seasons, well, there's all actually. We would have the same discussion around Christmas and said, why is this a hard stop and starting? Like, what is in my stages of life changing by going from December to January? Well, I think we planned the end of the season. But going back to innovation, it was just before the summer break. We had our last conversation about innovation, acceleration, as being actually essential parts of who we are as an individual, for our businesses, our communities. Like it's not just a tool, it's not just a thing you do once in the 6 months. No, it's like an ongoing thing. It's a skill. It's a mindset, and we need to create a surrounding for ourselves and those we lead or those we follow to actually be innovative. So when we talk about innovation, I thought like let's start with the hard question. What is the purpose of innovation? And
Yep.
who's better to answer that than you?
Well, it's good. I like the well, so what questions like what is the purpose of this? Why are we doing this? And I think it comes down to identity. I know we've talked about creativity and identity, but I really think it does. And for me, in who I am and in my identity, I want to add value, and I think I want to make a difference, maybe a different way of expressing it. I want to help people is a different way of expressing it. I want to do something that contributes to something that's bigger than me, and I think that's what innovation does. Like that's what innovation's for. It's about adding value to the people who you lead. It's about adding value to the society that you're part of, adding value to your family, to your business, um, to helping it grow. Growth.
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
think yeah, I like that direction. It's like, and I'm completely with you. I believe that every individual carries unique value, and the world is actually waiting for that unique value. But it's quite a life journey to discover your value, and I know from the peer-to-peer mastermind groups we run weekly that actually it is not the majority. It's a small set of owner managers, people that really feel that life is something they have to own, and um, it is an intentional journey to find out who you are, or as a futurist, who you can become, and what is the unique value, and how can you serve people, lead people with your unique voice, your unique value. And
Yeah.
I just had 2 days of training where I did a training with the boardroom Lego bricks methodology and creative problem solving, design thinking. And one of the things that I heard myself say, and I always have to make notes of what I hear myself say. Like, I'm a good preacher for myself, and if no one is telling me what the right things are, sometimes I have to listen to myself. Well, one of the things that I heard myself say was, creativity is always there to bring a solution. Could be emotional, could be physical, could be mental, but it is the creativity, the expression of identity, that is bringing a solution for someone or for something. But the difference between a creative solution and innovation is actually that the creative solution adds value.
Yeah.
That's not as a goal, but actually as the accelerator for, like what you say, to get growth, to have increase, to add value. And nowadays we tend to say that it's not necessary that it needs always to add value. I would just flip it. Actually, I would nearly say something that in parts of the world I had to apologize for. So I swallowed that word, but I think that's complete nonsense. I think if you are intentional about contributing, then what you contribute is valuable for you, and you contribute because you believe it's valuable for someone else. So contributing something that has no value, that sounds like a waste of time for both parties.
Sounds pretty patronizing almost, really.
It does, yes. And I'm like, I keep coming back to what you said in I think the first podcast, first a live conversation. You said problems are not out there to be solved. They are those symptoms that help you to find out what is the bigger thing, challenge, problem behind the problems. And
Yeah. I think it's interesting because you were just talking about creativity creating solutions, and a lot of people think that solutions are the answer of solving a problem, but they're not. I mean, they are, or they could be, but they are. I always think they're triggers. You know, problems are triggers, that need to be understood and discovered, but problems don't necessarily lead you to the right solutions and to the creative solutions and to the innovative solutions, because just solving a problem doesn't always add value and doesn't always bring your value out. I think that's where real innovation is to be able to, like we talked about, in a number of these, to understand the problems, to understand the gaps, but not to fixate on them, but to allow the real innovation, the creativity of who we each are and the value that we each have, and how that could totally transform the roadmap or the environment or the landscape or the people around us.
Just to give an example, like if you just see the problem as a whole, a gap to fill, well, first of all, it keeps you busy, but it never challenges if you should continue on the way you are and on the direction you are going.
Yeah.
So we gave the example a few times before, like if I have flat tires and I just replace my tires, and I have flat tires again and replace my tires, maybe I should check my suspension. And maybe my suspension is the issue because I'm using the car in the wrong environment. and I should have checked before if the tool, the vehicle I'm using, is still suitable for the journey I'm going on. And this sounds like stupid example, but actually that's what we do if we see holes as gaps. But what if we see holes as the invitation to find out what the whole picture is and start to explore that there is a different dynamic? And going back to like why innovation, I think if we can get the obstacles out of the way by redefining the problem, discovery what the real problem is, doing the exploration of what could be new,
Yeah.
we actually create space to start exploring the next opportunity,
Yeah.
to get back the movement.
Yeah. It's that's the key word. I was just going. Well, I wasn't going to use that word, but I was going to say, as soon as you create space, you can grow again. As soon as you create space, you can move forward. And both of them are movement, aren't they? You know, one is growth's cool because it can be movement in multiple dimensions at the same time. But sometimes you just need movement. But that's what space gives you, and that to me that's absolutely what innovation is about, or should be for, and it brings back to mind like so if we know that, how can we cultivate, how can we not just let that growth happen by default or by accident, but be really intentional or purposeful, whatever, on cultivating opportunities, so that when how do we get that mindset that we're always thinking innovation, that we're always thinking, what's the future that I want to see, what's the future value that I want to be contributing, and when we face things, problems, setbacks, whatever, that we have trained our brains, our thought patterns almost, to go, it's an invitation, there's a hole here, it's an invitation to jump in the hole, not to fill the hole.
Yeah.
I'm mixing my metaphors, but I really think that is, how we're all affected by lots of triggers, aren't we? And whether reactionary emotional triggers or different things, but how can we actually create our own triggers that help us and accelerate us to grow and to move forward and to see that future that we want to see, and to be that future person that we want to be as well.
I could imagine that not everyone believes that growing is a priority in that sense. Maybe subconsciously, like it being involved in learning, and you hear a lot nowadays, like a lifelong learning, which is kind of a movement to wake up that learning doesn't end when you graduate, and people in like you and I that are just beyond 30.
Thank you. 21 with experience, thank you very much.
And 40. Mid 40. We find out that actually life starts after graduation, because now you're stepping out of a bubble and you get into real life.
Yeah.
And you have to start seizing opportunities. You have to make the best of it actually yourself, by finding the right connections and relationships, and everything starts to matter and everything starts to connect to everything. And so growth for me is like, again, it's a goal. if you look to solving the problem, like I solved the problem, or actually I want to solve the right thing to take the obstacle out of the way so that I can grow again. But growth in itself is, of course, the means in a higher goal, which is at the end, and maybe that's the next stage in life for us as well. There is we want to contribute, we want to give, we just want to leave something behind for our children, for the community. But to get to that stage, it doesn't work if we still have the mindset, the abilities of someone that just graduated. It's an ongoing thing. So there is this acceleration happening the moment we start to use this on a, I would say, could we say a daily basis? Like a skill set that's always part of the big picture?
Yeah. Well, you often use the phrase saying, you've got to keep it top of mind. And I think that's right, isn't it? You've got to keep it at the front of your mind, I would say. And so it's daily, but it's more than daily. It's an upgrade of your mindset, a retraining of your brain, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. When you say mindset, I really like future mindset.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about it. Like future mindset is using your passion and your sense of purpose to pursue who you can become, and this helps. Like the skill set of creative thinking, innovation, understanding that you have value. And there are people out there that actually are helped by when you share your value. And of course, it has to be the right match. And we all know that. Like we need to be surrounded by the people that celebrate us, not accept us or tolerate us. No, celebrate us. Actually, why are you celebrated? For who you are and what you carry.
Yeah.
And it is so important to find those people that have that setting, but to keep developing, keep learning. If you keep learning and developing, that means you don't have to step in the trap of controlling those people around you and preventing them to bypass you, because you keep moving as well. As long as you don't stand still, you don't have to make sure other people stand still as well.
I think it's more than just keeping moving, though. I think the thing, when you just made the joke about our ages and life stage, I think the thing that crossed my mind is actually, I think as you get older, life accelerates. Every minute you have is a smaller percentage of your life than the previous minute, and so our perception of time accelerates as we get older. And I think that happens whatever we do, right? If we do nothing, life's accelerating faster and faster. And for me, then that's the challenge is I want to keep up with that, and I want to maximize and be at the same speed and the same acceleration as life is coming towards me, and not be in a mismatch of it. Maybe it's a bit of a funny expression, but what that means is I need to not just keep growing, but I need to accelerate in my growth, to just to really maximize on the time that I've got on my heartbeat, on giving my value and being who I want to be and seeing what I want to see in my lifetime. And imparting as much as possible to my kids, impacting home, work, society. And so me, that's why I love that kind of acceleration. Acceleration of innovation, acceleration of the future mindset. Every day I want to be thinking on who I want to be in the future, and working somehow towards becoming that person. Probably speaking to myself here, doing your trick.
Yeah, I just feel like there's this awkward silence nearly happening. I'm just processing it myself as well. Like there is this exponential acceleration It's not a linear process, and and sometimes we feel that the pace is too fast. And so I don't think you mean it's like it's all going like it's like going. No, no, not at all. No, it's that awareness that time is getting more and more precious. There's you learn more, so there's more to contribute.
Yeah.
You get to know more people, so there is more to contribute. Um, you have to make decisions and focus to what people in the more you get to know celebrate you, and what people are there just to be helped.
Yeah.
Um, you need a
Yeah,
safe
it's not
place.
about busyness. It's definitely not about busyness.
Exactly. It's not about busyness. It's not a rat race or a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
No, actually, it is something that gives energy,
Yeah.
because some call it flow. I think it's some kind of a mental flow, and it's the opposite of going with the flow, because probably it's going upstream. It's going up. I think the Americans always use the metaphor of the mountain, like going up the mountain. You have to find your summit, have to go there, but probably have to go round the mountain. But the circles, the loops, getting smaller, but not easier. Like in the summer break, my oldest son, I said to him, "We'll do a mountain together." So we found a mountain, the big one in the valley. We had seen it a couple of years ago, and like the first, let's say, 1,000 meters up was just a path getting steeper and steeper, and I was getting out of breath, and he was. I saw in his eyes, he looked at me like, "You're getting old, Dad." And well, okay. And then we came to this crossing, and it says like the way up is rocky, slippery. It was not a pathway anymore. It felt like a steep wall straight up, and it felt that every minute I gained more height, but it didn't feel as a fast track at all. So but the loop was shorter. It was only 400 meters, and it took us only half a kilometer to bridge that 400 meters of height.
Wow.
But it took us also an hour and a half to get up and an hour and a half to get down. So the average pace was like 0.
Yeah.
But you get there and you think, yeah, it was worth it.
Yeah.
The view is worth it. The impact on his life is worth it.
Yeah.
The memory we create, the adventure, like that. Now I'm boring language of you, like the adventure we created, the memory we share afterwards. So it accelerated his perspective as well. So, for instance, when we came back, he said, "I'm done with the valley." Not in the sense like I'm getting bored, but I've done all the mountains. I've done the high one at the end, so now I'm done. I'm ready for the next step. For bigger mountains, longer hikes. And I thought that was a good metaphor. This was in a place of rest, holiday,
Yeah.
enjoying each other. But it's typically for our busyness or occupation as well, and at home as well. We reach out to something and then we gain it, and we don't want to do the same thing. So we accelerate and prepare ourselves to move into the next step,
Yeah.
the next opportunity. And sometimes makes me so sad that it felt that this is a exclusive, rare story, because most people find it too much of a hustle. They love to have something that's predictable. Well, I don't think we talked today about something that was predictable.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, sorry for those that want that. Then I hope you take it as an invitation to actually find peers that celebrate you in speaking about what you've never spoken about, asking a question that you think no one wants to ask. You need that safe place. And you're also worth it to own your own future. You're worth it to find out what the unique value is that you carry, to find out how to lead yourself to a group of people that is actually looking forward to it. And you're worth to enjoy the celebration of what your contribution and other people's contribution accelerate. That's just being part of human. And it's actually not human if we leave that part out.
Yeah.
On a serious note.
No, it's good. I think it's our responsibility to ourselves to grow. And I think for many years I didn't realize I owed it to myself to explore who I could become, really what the value that I carry was. I just kind of took it for granted that I was who I was and I would be who I would be. But kind of discovering that there is so much more. There is a higher mountain at the end of the next valley. I think. Sorry, go on.
Didn't it make you feel selfish?
Not at all. I don't. Because ultimately it's not about me doing it for me, although it is. It's about discovering who I could be and what I could do for others, and what my impact is on the world and my family and work and all the layers of that. In your language it's about leading yourself first.
Yeah, and the higher you can reach, the higher I would nearly say that the launch platform is for those that follow me, starting with my kids.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's selfish, but it has been a thought that crossed my mind regularly when it feels like, oh, now I have to choose. But when I find the next level, then I can trust that for my kids. And even now they are like in their teens, they benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because the step that I make,
Well,
they don't have to make.
I think for me personally as well, it's knowing that I'm a nicer person to be around, probably as a result of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a gift to everybody who has to live with me, who chooses to or who doesn't choose to.
Yeah.
and who works with me, and but not just nicer, but I am able to add more value to them. Bring full circle back to the start of the conversation. I think I want to. It's about discovering my uniqueness and my unique value, and working on honing, refining, improving, growing, stretching that, so that I can add more value to other people, and hopefully do it with people who want that to be an exchange, a transfer of value. So I help them, and I get things of value back from it.
Yeah, I agree. I think when just taking the other side, the receiving end of it, I truly believe that you are a much more interesting person, and you're much easier to celebrate if you keep on sharing the new insights, the new experiences. But from an inspirational point of view, but also to push or to stretch me, for instance. And in that perspective, it's, of course, it sounds silly, like you're easier to like, you're easier to celebrate. But it is, because you keep adding color to the conversation. And if I compare that, and that's not fair to take anyone as an example, so I'm not doing that, but like, so just take myself. If I would keep on adding this brilliant thought every conversation for 4 years long, it will be black and white. It will not be colorful. It will be hard. And even if it is true, but if there isn't a weekly, monthly, yearly update, refreshment, addition to it, then it sounds like, oh, history.
Yeah.
And we all know people around us that keep on giving the same answer, the same proposal. We know them in problem solving. And then we think, oh, that's the person with the rhetoric. That's the person that speaks always in the same dogmas. And oh, we all know that. So if we start chasing what the next opportunity is, what the next version of us could be, it makes the juice flow.
Yeah, and I've just noticed Raymond said in the comment, it's all about exploration. I think 100% right, because don't always know, right, what the next version is going to be. So it's always an exploration. It's a, let's have a look over here. What could be over that next hill?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I didn't want to go there. Let's go back and explore over that way. You don't know until you go.
Definitely. And you gave a few, I would nearly say, requirements. Like, space is very important.
Yeah.
That we feel, experience the freedom to move, the freedom to explore. We don't feel forced or being squeezed to keep repeating what we already know, have done, didn't work. And actually feel the space as well to ask the stupid question that no one wants to ask, but everyone has got stuck in, and to challenge the problem definition.
Yeah.
Like we had an earlier comment from Silla who said, like, that's a good one. Problems are the symptoms. I think that a really good one-liner to just put out there. If you face something, first say to yourself, these are the symptoms. What's behind it? Yeah. If you can redefine the problem, you probably, because a problem is the same thing as like, I'm stuck. If you can redefine the problem, there is already some space to explore something new, to chase a thought, to apply a different perspective, or something else pops to mind. It gets you at least one step ahead. So thanks for the comments. Well, I think for you it's dinner time.
Oh yeah.
I nearly hear the grumbling. Just for the sound effects of the podcast. I just want to thank you for this one, and really good food for thought. And don't talk too much about food now. And and that owning your future, Like there is a challenge coming up. Middle of this month, we start with the pre-sessions. The 20th, we have the first session of a 5-day challenge. Where we really go step by step, to explore what it takes to own your future, which is about mindset, which is about self-leadership, which is about taking yourself serious enough to laugh about yourself, but also to take that opportunity to set time apart for personal development and exploration of what's important.
To use my language, I think, from my experience of your challenges, Arjan, I think they're accelerators of growth. Anybody who comes along, you will accelerate in that 5 days or however long this next one is.
Yeah, another 5. Yeah.
It'll be intense. You'll have to do a whole load of homework, but you will accelerate.
I only ask one simple question each time.
Yeah. One simple
And give you
question.
24 hours to ponder about it.
And 5 minutes to do, 30 seconds before the next session. That's just me, maybe.
Yeah. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
thank you for everyone listening, providing comments. And those who have questions, just reach out and connect with us. Like, we are looking forward to have another conversation, because in the conversation we hear ourselves speak, and by that, if we change the conversation from problems to the future, we even create something new. So welcome for this session, and I'm looking forward to the next one, Benj.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you.
too. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.